Greetings and welcome back, Truth Seekers. This is Athanasius on the Athanasius Reports. And what a last couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen. I did not put out a vlog last week like I usually do because of all the breaking stuff that was happening on September 11th that I did not want to do a video without first seeing all the facts and then being able to digest it and being able to see, what the fallout was going to be about this. So let's just go ahead and dive right in and look at what's been going on the last couple of weeks. First, Trump has been on a roll. He's been laying out policy speech after policy speech, at least one a week, where he's been talking about everything from foreign policy to immigration to the economy. And this is really starting to change his image in the public, I believe. You're starting to see this in the polls where people are starting to see him more confidently. They're starting to see that he isn't just this overacting or amateurish buffoon that comes onto the political stage, doesn't know what he's doing, that he actually does have a lot of substance to him. So that whole media narrative that of him just not knowing what he's doing, or he didn't think he'd get this far. Now I think that that's being squashed with every one of these speeches here. I think that the fact that he's laying them out so clearly, he's breaking down the important points and listing them and actually offering what he is going to do, not just one of these nebulous political thing. Well, I'm going to get a commission together and we're going to study this problem and then we'll come up with some solution. No. First, we're going to build the wall. Then we're going to go after the criminal aliens that are in this here. And then for those that are here illegally, well, sorry, okay, the law is the law here. You got to go. All right. I mean, he's clearly mapping out what he is going to do within his presidency, and this is having a great effect on the populace. It's also becoming more and more clear that the more that he does this, the more that he stays on script, the more that he continues to read off the teleprompter. As a lot of us that were with him from, well, actually, I can't really say I was with him from the beginning because I was actually with Cruz, but I did follow Trump very, very early on. I think the first time the first video I remember seeing of him was his speech where he had the families of the victims of the illegal immigrants come up on stage and actually talk about their experiences, talk about what happened to their family members as a result of these illegal aliens. And that was when I really started paying more attention to Donald Trump and wondering, well, could this possibly be something special? Could this possibly be something more? Could there be something more to this guy than what we're being led on to believe by the media and by all the conservative pundits and everything? And sure enough, yes. And Trump is now proving that. So for those that are kind of wondering, why isn't he acting like his usual self? Well, he had to act that way during the primaries because the only way that he was ever going to get above the noise of 16 other candidates was he had to act like that. But now that we're going into the general election, he's taking a more refined, a more definite, and a more professional tone in his speaking. And this is resonating, and the media is having a hard time trying to cover it up because now more and more people are starting to are seeing, what there's. I just can't believe what the media is telling me about this guy, because they make it sound like so outlandish, and yet the clips that they show, he's not. It doesn't sound like he's being all that outlandish. Or they pick like the one little ad lib part that he goes out on, and they cut everything else out. But people are going into his videos, they're going into his speeches, they're actually going and looking up his policies more. And so the whole media firewall is crumbling right before our very eyes. I think the latest poll showed that only 32% of Americans had a trustworthy or favorable view of the media. That is astonishing, which means that 2/3, a full almost 70%, actually 68%, believe that the media is not telling the full story. That 68% is going to be a number to keep watching here and see if that it goes up, goes down in the coming months. I have a feeling that it's probably going to go up. I think that more and more people are going to see the dishonesty in the media, especially when it comes to the debates, and they start seeing, just how biased these people are, the moderators and so forth. But anyway, so Trump is has been having a great last couple of weeks because he's been staying on message. He's been using the teleprompter more, so a lot less ad-lib moments. He's not been picking fights with every little white rabbit that the Democrats throw his way, and this is showing the American people that he is a more tempered and a more thoughtful presidential type of character, not just the apprentice, you're fired type of guy that we all know and love. The second thing that has been really knocking this whole campaign for a loop here is what's been happening with Hillary Clinton. Before the last couple of weeks, we all had joked. We all been joking, more or less, about where's Hillary and Hillary's health, and then you have the coughing fits are back. You have the fact that she isn't doing a whole lot of public appearances, or when she does do a public appearance, it's always with the elites at fundraisers. She's not doing any sort of she's not doing a whole lot of rallies, or they're really short. She's there, she speaks for a few minutes, and then she gets off the stage. She doesn't take any questions for the press conference. It's really starting to make an impact on social media with all those hashtags, where's Hillary's health, and so forth. But the kicker, and I think that this may be the defining moment in this campaign, the same way that stupid picture of, was it Mondale? I think it was, was it Mondale, or was it, who was that goober that was running in the 80s, the Democrat guy that put the army helmet on and was sitting in the tank, and he popped up and he looked like one of those little whack-a-mole heads that you just wanted to beat with a foam hammer. There's that one, and then there was also the one with Reagan, where he, I'm not going to question my opponent's youthful inexperience here, or the other one where, why would you charge a man with, would you go after the man that raped your wife or whatever? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's defining moments in every campaign that kind of spells out when the end of a certain candidate is. And we've always heard that all the little gaffes that Trump has done. Oh, he's done it this time. He picked a fight with a Gold Star family. That's it. We're never gonna see. You're never gonna see Trump hit anything above 20% now or whatever. Well, truth be told, folks, I believe that September 11th we had that defining moment, and it was Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump. If you've not seen the video, go and it's almost everywhere now. The media, Google, Facebook, and all those minions have tried their best to protect their queen and keep this information from getting out, but they just could not do it. They could not keep this from becoming a national story, and they try to swing it. They try to say it's one thing, or it's not as bad as it looked. No, go and watch the video. The whole event, if you've been living on the rock, you don't know what the hell is going on. This is what happened. There was a 9/11 ceremony up in New York City. The president was there. Donald Trump was there, and then Hillary Clinton showed there. She showed up late. She showed up, I think, just before was it the first or the second bell that signified that the tower coming down. It was one of those bells. But she shows up late. First of all, sits down. And then during the part where they're reading out all the names of the victims of that day, 9/11, she all of a sudden gets up and then starts walking back to her vehicle. And pictures from that show her walking with her hand over against what who been identified as a nurse, and it looks like the nurse is taking her pulse. Her Hillary's other hand is like against her chest. She just looks really uncomfortable, really hot. Then an amateur videographer got the smoking gun, got the piece that finally is exposing all the Hillary health problems for what they are. And it's not just, she had allergies or what other BS excuse they had there. No. Okay, the video starts off with Hillary waiting curbside for the Secret Service van to come by and pick her up. First off, that is, from everything I've been hearing from radio and then also reading up online, that is a major breach of protocol for the Secret Service. They do not stop the candidate. They always keep them on the move because the moving target's harder to hit than a still target. So the fact that they had to stop and wait for the van to come to her, that's the first red flag that should go off in everyone's mind. The fact that they're blatantly breaking Secret Service protocol for protecting a VIP. Second, looking at the video, you'll see Hillary Clinton propped up, not just leaning, not just casually, no, propped up on one of those curbside ballers. The big pole-looking thing, like half pole-looking things that come out of the ground that are meant to prevent vehicles from driving onto the sidewalk. Yeah, she's propped up against it, and she looks stiff. She looks rigid. She looks like, I guess the best way that I can phrase it is that she looks like someone who has just gotten off an all-night bender and is afraid to move because if they move, they're going to puke. They're just going to lay out their whole lunch all over the sidewalk there. And so those type of people, they stay very still and just hope that the feeling they feel in the back of their throat just passes before too long, before they get up and try to move again. Or I guess you could also say it could also be somebody that is feeling very faint and very dizzy, and so they rest up against something very solid while they wait to get their balance back. But even in that case, there's still some swaying because your equilibrium's off. But no, Hillary is like rigid against this pole here, and then her nurse is right next to her, and you see her talking to her, but you don't really see Hillary responding. Like, she's not looking at the nurse. Her head is straight ahead. She's looking forward. She's like focused on something like right in front of her, and it doesn't look like she's really paying attention to the people around her that are talking to her. Well, then the detail comes up, and so they try to get Hillary up, and then you just see Hillary like she first struggles to get off the bollard, and then when she gets on the bollard, you see her knees start buckling. You see her just bobbing, weaving like she's drunk off her butt. Something wrong, and then the final, the moment that we've all been waiting for, she goes to get into the car and she just about does a nosedive right into the floor of the vehicle. If it wasn't for all the Secret Service and all the staff that that were there, they would have she would have for sure face planted right into the edging of the car right there, and it just. That video has now been seen by I don't know how many millions of people now, and then immediately right after that fact, they pretty much had to like toss her into the vehicle like a slab of meat. The video itself doesn't quite show that because you had the Secret Service guard standing in the way and kind of blocking view while people are getting her in, and then once they get her in, they take her out. Well, they don't take her to a hospital. They take her to her daughter's apartment. And the media at the time, what's going on? What's going on with Hillary and everything? And there's media silence. There's nothing going on. At first, we're told, the only thing that we're told is that, she was feeling a little dehydrated. Okay. And then, an hour and a half later, she comes out and she looks fine. She's waving. She's walking all by herself. And then she hugs a little girl. And then she gets in. And then we're told that, she had pneumonia. Yeah, she was suffering from pneumonia and just feeling, really under the weather there. Dehydration, pneumonia. Yeah, it's pretty, it's okay now. She got some water. She got out of the heat. Okay, it's like, first of all, it wasn't all that hot. It was in the 70s with 38% humidity. That isn't hot at all. That is a beautiful, gorgeous day. I mean, that is the kind of day that you could lay out in the sun. Lay out in the park, just catching some rays or whatever, and you feel like you're baking. You probably wouldn't even break a sweat, even in direct sunlight. So the fact that she's having this, having these problems in those sort of weather conditions, yeah, there's another warning flag for you folks. Secondly, she had pneumonia, and there's all sorts of, what was it? Well, she says a bacterial pneumonia. What was it? Infectious, non-infectious. Why she hug that little girl? She had pneumonia because that can spread. Why did she go to her daughter's? The point being is that the pneumonia thing is a flat-out lie. she does not have pneumonia, at least not in the way that they're portraying it. Now, what so what does she have? Well, this is where everybody is now speculating. I've seen videos going from she definitely has something neurological, but I did see a video recently where a doctor explains that no, she's in late stage Parkinson's, and then explained all the symptoms and some of the more common occurrences of health issues, from things like freezing up, falling flat on your face. It's because your body just goes rigid and you just can't control anything. To showing how her like her head bobbing, like when Bernie Sanders endorsed her a couple months back, or was it? It has been a couple months already. Wow, yeah, a couple months back, and she's just sitting there, and she's going up and down and up and down and up and down, and you're just wondering what the hell is wrong with her. And they got the Hillary bobblehead memes going on, and somebody counted like 400 something times or whatever. Some doctor pointed out like those are all indicators that she has late stage Parkinson's, which okay, that actually makes a lot of sense, at least in my book. Now, is that what she has? Well, we can't really confirm it because being, part of the Clinton crime family, they're never going to admit that she has this sort of illness, because that would right there destroy her chances of ever getting the presidency whatsoever. And so, and then the other thing too is that the fact that she has come this far, the fact that she has basically been chomping at the bit since she was in college to get into the presidency so she can transform this country into her vision, the Alinskyite vision. All right, you're never going to get the truth out of them. All right, the pneumonia might be the closest thing we get to the truth, because pneumonia is a common sickness of people that suffer from Parkinson's disease. So I know I said earlier that it's not pneumonia. I probably should have talked about the Parkinson's first and then gone into it, but it probably wasn't pneumonia. But you know what? It might have could have been from the result of her Parkinson's sickness. So what's happened because of this? Now that it's come out that she's really sick, and then you have not just this video, but her coughing fit, where like for 4.5 minutes she was coughing, and then the coughing on the plane, and then you have more videos coming out where she just looks tired and run down. The attacks over this last weekend in New York City, where they got her like 11 p.m. and asked her, what she thought about him or whatever. I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, could they not get this woman a glass of coffee or something? I mean, could they not get her, shoot her up with some caffeine, or have her go snort some coke or something, just to get her to not look like she just crawled out of the grave? She looks horrible. She looks absolutely horrible. And the American public are noticing this. And now you're starting to see a shift in the polls. You're starting to see in states like Ohio, Trump is up. Florida, Trump is up. States like New Hampshire, it's a very tight race. Maine, which has traditionally been a Democratic state, is now a very tight race with Trump, I think, slightly ahead. Michigan is showing the gap between Clinton and Trump diminishing. Iowa, another blue state, Trump is now leading in there. I think Wisconsin is also closing as well. Virginia's closing. North Carolina, Trump has pulled ahead there. Then you have Colorado, where last month it was 12 to 15 points for Hillary, and the Democrats thought, oh, well, we're done. This state is ours or whatever. Nope. Now Trump is within striking, or in some cases, and I think in one poll, he's actually ahead by 2 points. You have, I think Nevada is also really tight if Trump isn't ahead there. And then I just saw one this morning that New Mexico actually has, Trump plus 5 points. That one I have to take with a grain of salt, because looking at it, they only asked like 141 something people for that. I mean, sorry, that's not really a good sample size to be able to know accurately, but I don't entirely discount it either. I use it more as I guess a weather vane, in that you see the way the winds are blowing here, and then you kind of make a good guess what meteorological events could be coming your way. So in this case, the fact that we're seeing a lot of these polls tightening you now have to begin to wonder just where is Donald Trump exactly within this race. Now, I am not a Nostradamus. I am not someone that can accurately predict what is going to happen in this election. Okay, so let me just get that out of the way first. However, let me offer my take on this. I believe that with Trump coming out and offering policy speech after policy speech, while Hillary and the Democrats do nothing but decry and use the same old racist playbook that they've been using since time immemorial, I think people are starting to see that there's more substance to the Republicans than there are the Democrats. That's the first thing. Second thing is that Hillary's health is now becoming a major liability, and people are really starting to see that, or starting to ask themselves, do I really want to elect a woman that could die within the first year of the presidency? I don't think a lot of people are interested in even if it's the historical. Don't you want to see a woman to be the first, or the woman to be president of the United States of America? That cackling speech he gave months ago. Even those type of people, I think, are starting to question whether or not that this is their girl. Now, you're always going to have a percentage of the population that are just diehard, brain dead Democratic sycophants that no matter who's on the ballot, it could be Mickey Mouse, as long as there's a D right next to Mickey Mouse's name, they'll vote for him. But for those that are not the diehard sycophants, for those that maybe had family or generational ties to the Democrat Party, or maybe because they were part of the union they voted, or whatever it is, a lot of them are now looking at Hillary and saying, no, this is not the candidate for me. She's not healthy. She doesn't look like she cares. She doesn't look like she's got anything new to offer other than the same policies that we've been using for how many decades now, and it's been killing our jobs, killing our economy, killing our security, and they want us to just go ahead and blindly vote for her? No. More and more people are waking up to this fact. And I think that in the coming weeks, if Trump can maintain his discipline, stay on message, focus on policy, don't chase all the little rabbits that the Democrat Party throws at him. Okay, don't respond to the personal attacks. Let his surrogates do that for sure. Let them do that, or do what he did after when the media tried to get him right after the whole Hillary health scare on 9/11, where he said essentially, I don't know what's going on there, but I do wish Hillary well, and I look forward to seeing her at the debates. Perfect, great. You don't give him anything to try to bite on in terms of he's a conspiracy theorist or anything. No, he did the smart thing in his response to the Hillary health scare. And then the same thing when it came to with some of the other attacks that have been going on this week as well, like the like the birther thing. This, oh my gosh, this was a stroke of genius. This was, I don't know if this was all Trump's idea, or if this was his surrogates, Bannon and Kellyanne, which whoever it was though needs to get a special vacation for this, because it's just brilliant. But the whole birther issue, where Hillary, seeing herself dipping in the polls and seeing that the whole racist thing isn't really working. Well, what can we do? Donald Trump's a birther, and then the media picks up. Yeah, Donald Trump's a birther. We shouldn't trust him on that, because he still says Obama's born in Kenya. He's a conspiracy theorist and all that. And Trump, of course, didn't really want to bite on that, but he was forced to because they wouldn't let it go. So what does he do? Okay, fine. I'm going to call a press conference. I'm going to talk about the birther issue. So he calls a press conference, and the first 20 or something minutes, he's got all these vets up there, Medal of Honor winners, Gold Star fan, everything coming up, and just endorsing him and saying, yep, he's our guy and everything like that. And the media was covering it the entire time, expecting him to start talking at any moment about the birther issue. And here he is, rolling out vet after vet after vet, endorsing him for the presidency. And then he gets to the very end. It's like, oh, yeah, about the birther issue. Well, Hillary Clinton started it back in her 2008 campaign, and I'm going to finish it. Obama was born in America, period. Thank you. Good night. And just walked off. I mean, just drop the mic. That's it. That was absolutely gloriously brilliant. And it's moments like that, even with all the little Trump gaffes that he has, it still just it still speaks to me. It still says that this man is playing chess while everybody else is still playing checkers. They think that this is just a simple game where all they have to do is move their pieces, take the little pogs or whatever the checkers pieces are called, and they'll be able to get their girl elected. And here comes Trump playing chess, in which, he may give up a pawn here or there, but he ends up taking a bishop or a knight or even going after their queen. And it's just the brilliance of this move will certainly go down in history as a I guess a way to effectively troll the media while still getting your message out and still looking presidential and viable at the same time. Brilliant move. And it's moves like that that people are taking notice of when it comes to, do they want Trump, do they want to vote Trump or vote for Hillary? So, and then the third thing that's also really interesting is that third-party support, which normally hurts Republicans, is actually hurting Democrats this year. This is a strange occurrence. I don't know if this has actually ever happened in the history of our elections, but third-party support from Jill Stein and from Gary Johnson is actually pulling more voters away, younger voters away from the Democrat Party than it is the Republican Party. It's bizarre, to be honest with you. And again, I am not claiming to be a prophet or Nostradamus or anything like that, but I have to just put my own little musings into this here. It seems to me that by all accounts, this election should have gone for the Democrats, because let's just be honest, the last, I don't know how many years, we've let so many people into this country that should not have been into this country. We haven't really enforced our laws, especially when it comes to like the election laws. We've put ourselves into a situation where the Democrats, the globalists, and all those type of people have pretty much a stranglehold on the American people. And yet we are seeing what I can only explain as divine intervention. All these little things from Trump's meteoric rise through the Republican primary, to the breaking of the media firewall, to the breaking of the Clinton firewall, to the email scandal that just keeps dogging her, to the WikiLeaks thing, to all these like little things that, when taken by themselves, don't add up to enough to be able to turn an election. But the fact that these little things just are occurring almost one right after the other, I almost feel like there is the hand of God here working within our election, that he's answering the prayers of those that have been suffering over the past so many years, and he's looking to give this country another chance to try to come back to him. And if you haven't seen my piece, I wrote a piece the other day about, is America more like Sodom and Gomorrah or more like Nineveh? And the gist of that story, if you don't care to read it, what I do recommend you do, it's a short piece, it's not all that long, but the gist of it is that God's righteous wrath is just, and he will have justice in the end, as what we saw with Sodom and Gomorrah. But interestingly enough, before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, he had a tit for tat with Abraham, where Abraham was like, "Hey, Lord, if I find 50 good people in there, will you spare the city?" Yes, you find 50 good people. Well, what about 30? Yeah, I'll spare it for 30. What about 10? Okay, fine, 10. Yeah, I'll spare it. All right. But in the end, there wasn't enough good people in there except for Lot and his family, and God told Lot, "Hey, get out and destroy this place." So Lot took his family, they got out, and then he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And then there was the other story about Nineveh, where Jonah goes to Nineveh and proclaims, "Hey, in 40 days, God's going to destroy the city. You guys have been screwed up for far too long. God's sick of you, and he's going to bring the smackdown on you." And the whole city, including the king, said, "You know what? We done messed up. We're going to repent." They put on sackcloth and ashes. They repented. They fasted. They tried to assail God's wrath. And God looked at them and said, I can't bring my justice upon these people anymore. They've turned their hearts towards me again. They've turned away from their evil ways. I'm not going to bring my justice upon them. And so, is that what this election is? Is this a divine judgment upon our country? Is God giving us one more chance, and by either electing Hillary or by electing Donald Trump? And I can see his hand, trying to help get Donald Trump elected, and now it's just a matter of, are we too stiff-necked of a people to accept his hand to be able to elect Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton? In which case, that pretty much spells the final judgment for our country, whether or not we're going to survive or not. It's an interesting idea that I've been stewing on and percolating on, and if anybody has any sort of input, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you all think about this. Anyway, just looking at just how bizarre this whole election cycle has been, and everybody says, with the election cycle that they're in or whatever, man, this is an unusual election cycle. Well, you haven't seen this one. This is an election cycle for the ages, and blah 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 blah. But this really truly is a unusual election cycle, with all the king's horses and all the king's men in the media and the Democrat Party, Google, Facebook, Twitter, social media, with all of those people against pretty much Donald Trump and the American people. You would think that they'd be doing a better job controlling information and keeping people dumb and stupid during this whole, but no, they're not. And oh my gosh, how did I not talk about this earlier? Oh, right before the 9/11 thing, the whole Hillary Clinton deplorables thing. I can't believe I forgot about this earlier. That's another thing too, that normally the media would not be able to get this out, but it's gotten out. It's gone viral, and people are rightfully ticked about what she said about a large population of the country there. But it's also just the after, like how it was handled afterwards. So Hillary made the comment about how half of Donald Trump supporters you could put into the basket of deplorables: the racist, the sexist, the homophobic, xenophobic, blah blah blah. All right, and she said it not once but twice. All right, she said it once at a rally and then a second time during I think it was an Israeli news news interview. And the fact that she said it in the first place is completely wrong, but more so now attributing the fact now that she's attributed that half of Donald Trump supporters are absolutely deplorable, they're irredeemable, they're not American. That really ticked off a lot. But even those that were maybe on the fence for Trump, hearing those comments, the best way to describe it is like, I can make fun of my family. I can look at my brothers and sisters, and I can make fun of some of the goofy things that they do, especially when we're growing up or whatever. But if you, as an outsider, try to make fun of my family, I'm going to defend them, and I'm going to fight you for it. You don't come after my family. And that's what this is that the Americans are looking at what she says like, oh, hell no. Look. We may disagree on, politics or whatever, but, these people are not irredeemable. They are certainly not American. They may be wrong in their ideology, but I know they want to provide for their family. I know they want to do the right thing. And some of these people, they're veterans. You're saying that their sacrifices are absolutely deplorable? The fact that they are willing to get up and give their life for this country is deplorable? No, that is wrong. And then afterwards, she comes by and, quote unquote, apologizes. Yeah, right. Where she said, I regret saying half of his supporters were deplorable. Wait, say that again? You regret saying half of his support? Well, wait, you're not really apologizing for saying that they're deplorable. You're just apologizing for saying that half. And you don't really quantify what specific number there are. And then that gets picked up by people saying, well, wait a minute. If you're only apologizing for saying half, does that mean that you're saying that all of Donald Trump's supporters are? Or those that are thinking about going for Donald Trump are deplorable because we aren't kissing your butt? Yeah. That moment, the health, Trump staying on message, everything like that. If if the trends continue, we are probably going to be looking at, I'm not going to say a landslide for Donald Trump, but I could definitely see him getting at least 280 electoral votes. I could definitely see him getting at least that. And possibly flipping states like Maine, which aren't a whole lot of electoral votes to begin with, but every little bit counts. But if you can, I see him flipping Maine. I see him. It's going to be a tight race in Pennsylvania, but I do see him pulling out in Pennsylvania. I see him maybe pulling out a slim victory in Michigan. I think he's going to flip Iowa, and I'm not so sure about Colorado, but I think I think it'll be a 1-point spread either way. It could go for Hillary, it could go for Donald Trump, but it's going to be a really tight race there. You're going to see a lot of this throughout the election. You're going to see a lot of tight races, and it's really going to come down to like 0.5% of the population and their votes, and into who gets the state or not. I honestly believe that. So that's how I'm looking at it right now. I think Donald Trump. I think the media pundits are not fairly looking at what is going on. I think they're going off of old numbers. They're taking old polls and they're still using them to average in where they think all the states are going to go for. Like I looked at Real Clear Politics right before I came onto the blog here, and it still shows Hillary Clinton getting like 294 electoral votes and winning states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and like wait a minute. Donald Trump has been leading in Ohio for the past 2-3 weeks now. Why are you still saying that it's going to go for Hillary Clinton? Like, you can't look at the historical base and say, oh, because of Cuyahoga County and Cleveland. And no, you can't do that because this is a completely different race. You have to look at, polls are trends, but you have to look at where the trends are going. And when you start seeing, when you have polls, going back and forth, showing 1 week it's Hillary and next week it's Trump and next week it's Hillary and next week it's Trump, then okay, it's still a toss-up. You don't really know what it is. Or if you start saying, there's 2 polls for Hillary and there's 1 for Trump. Okay, still more of a toss-up, but maybe it is leaning more towards Hillary. But when you start seeing more and more polls going towards Trump, then that should be an indication that state might actually go for Trump. And stop taking the old data, all the old pro-Hillary polls, way back in the day before Trump got his stuff together and actually started kicking butt. I think another factor that really isn't being talked about among any of the pundits as much, because it is a real grim thought when you think about it, and it's not one that I think a lot of people want to admit to, even if it's probably true, but we are probably going to get attacked again by Islam, whether it's ISIS, whether it's Al-Qaeda, who knows, okay? And we already had 3 attacks this weekend that are more, one for sure, the Minnesota one where the man stabbed 8 people before he himself was shot and killed. That was definitely a Islamic attack because he shouted out Allahu Akbar. The New York City dumpster bombing that injured 29 people, thankfully nobody died, but that one ISIS is cheering about, and there's other chatter that it was performed by a Islamic set of individuals. There's still details coming out about that, so we'll have to wait and see what the final words are if they even get out from the media. And then you also had another bombing in New Jersey at a park where a 5K was being run for a veterans group. I think it was a Marines, disabled Marines or something like that. And you had a bomb go off. It didn't injure anybody. And then the place got locked down, and they found other IEDs in the area along the run track. I believe that these attacks are a precursor of what is to come. I believe that in the coming weeks, we are going to see more and more of these attacks. Sad as I am to say, I do not wish for them. I do not want them, folks. I really don't. Because I know people are going to get hurt and people are going to get killed, and it's a terrible thing. But I think that the silver lining to these attacks, when they do occur, is it's going to continue to shine a spotlight on the Obama administration and how their refugee program, how they're kissing up to the Islamics, and the Islamists, the care groups, and so forth like that, are really hurting the average American. And then that's in turn going to hurt Hillary Clinton because she herself has said that she's going to continue and expand the refugee problem. And I guarantee you Donald Trump is going to hit on that. And he's going to hit on it hard. The other thing that I think is really going to hurt Hillary Clinton's chances of getting elected is going to be the economy. And there's always talk about the dollar crashing, that the economy is going to crash and so forth. But I don't know if it's going to happen now. I don't know if it's going to happen later. The point being, though, is that the American people are all looking around and they're seeing that this is not what I believe the American economy is capable of. When you see empty store after empty store, when you see people, trying to start a business and then get bogged down by onerous regulations, when coal miners are being put out of work by the tens of thousands, and mines are being shut down, and coal plants, electrical plants are being shut down in favor of green energy. When gasoline prices keep fluctuating up and down, you have this stagnant. I can't really say it's stagnant, and I can't really say that it's falling. It's just kind of, it's just sucking. The economy is just flat out sucking right now, and the American people know it. The American people are not stupid. All right, they know that this is not where the economy could be. It's not where they themselves could be, their families could be. That they could be in a better place. With medium incomes are going down for the American workers compared to like 7 years ago, when we're told that the unemployment rate is 4.9%, and yet 1 in 6 men between the ages of 18 and 32 are without work, living in their mom and dad's basement. When we're told one thing, but yet we're seeing another. American people are not stupid. They're seeing that they're being sold a bill of lies, and they're waking up, and they're coming together, and they're realizing that there's only one person that really truly cares about them, and that's Donald Trump. You're seeing that with the black vote. We're now close to 20% of the black vote is going for Donald Trump, where Hillary lost 20%. She went from like 91% approval with blacks to like 70% approval with blacks and support from blacks, where more and more Hispanics are going with Trump, contrary to what the media narrative is telling you, where Trump's a racist because he wants to build the wall and deport all the illegals. Well, actually, they just call it. Notice this about the media and the Democrats. They always lump immigrants into one word, immigrant. They don't separate illegal, criminal, or those that came in the legal way. It's all just one group to them. And yeah, for the illegals, for the criminals that come here that can't vote, certainly they don't want Donald Trump. But for those that did come here legally and they wanted to escape their poverty, and now they're seeing, the country coming back to them, of course they don't want America to turn into Guatemala or Honduras or Venezuela or wherever they came from. They don't want that. And so they are going to go for Donald Trump because they came to America for a reason. They came to America because it wasn't their home country. It actually, America was to them the shining city on the hill that gave them hope to be able to make a better life for themselves. And the more and more the campaign goes on, I truly believe that we are going to see Trump come out on top of this. But that doesn't mean that we stop, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot stop. We cannot stop. We have to keep playing like we're down, because the Democrats are going to pull out every dirty trick in the book, including cheating, to win this election. We have to stay vigilant. We have to make sure that we get in their faces whenever they try to cheat, whenever they pull any dirty tricks. We have to document it. We have to get on camera. We have to expose them for the dirty, lying, cheating, rotten, stinking scoundrels that they are. And so, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this vlog for today. I want you to check out my new website. I have it up and running. You can find it in the link below. Also, check me out on Facebook, like me on Twitter, and I will see you next week on the next Athanasius Report. Take care. God bless. Christ's peace upon you all.